Hey guys, welcome to our weekly show. I'm your host Khalid Mohidin, and this is the show where we catch you up on all the latest happenings of this past week and we take a sneak peek into the future to see what is going to happen in the next week. So I'm here with my man Alasdair, back in action again. But before we get started, just give us a like, subscribe, and share this post. So guys, a lot's been happening in cricket. I'll say the last 2 weeks has been quite hectic. We know that we've South African cricket and Cricket South Africa have an overhaul of everybody, like these people resigning left, right, and centre, new CEO, new head coach, new director of cricket. But this last week is of utmost importance because of England coming down for their series. So, Alistair, let's start with the main topic of this week, and that's possibly the coaching staff. Mark Boucher, the new Proteas head coach, has appointed Jacques Kallis, Charl Langeveldt in key positions, batting and bowling. We also have Enoch that has been demoted to assistant coach. Well, I say demoted lightly because, I mean, when we spoke to Enoch himself, he didn't really seem like he was so upset about the fact that he was downgraded to assistant. For me, from my perspective, it almost seems like we have two head coaches now. But let's just start with Jacques Kallis and Charl Langeveldt.
It's nice you could tell that Charl Langeveldt instantly quit his job with Bangladesh. He's like straight back here
Yeah.
in the green and gold. That was a good call. I expect to see more Yorkers being bowled by strike bowlers. And obviously Jacques Kallis is going to join Bouch. That's the first guy. I think maybe Jacques spent more time playing golf. And maybe he'd like to wake up with a purpose in his life, and that's helped the team that he once played for nearly 20 years. You can't buy that experience. I know there's a lot of talk, on social media about there's a click, it's returned, is that going to hinder the team? There was perhaps fears that guys like Mark Boucher would perhaps select guys from the Titans and that, but they've kind of kept quite neutral, and they've remained in the right spot.
We've got another guest on the show.
And we've got a guest, we've got a little poodle. He's also a Graham Smith fan, clearly, a little pink bow there on the ears. But I don't think one can really criticize the expertise and the brains trust that's there. I know that there's a click. There was one, in their playing days, but they're not in playing days now, and they're behind the scenes. And I just hope that they take responsibility if anything goes wrong, but I don't see that going wrong. I think that the best time now is that first test. Target that first test. We're an unknown kind of team now in a way. Except the core team is there. There's a core team that was there for Australia, and we can come there and we can go out there and smash him on Boucher's old home ground that he was the coach of.
Well, we can see with the test side that was selected, there aren't a lot of Titans players in that lineup. I think other than Dean Algar and maybe you can say Quinton, but Quinton doesn't really play much anymore for domestic, and Aiden of course. But when you look at the side, according to the squad that was selected, the brain has been dropped, and there was a large affiliation with the Titans with regards to that, because he's moved back to the Titans again, and he's decided, well, he always backs him across all formats. So we can see with the Swana Spartans that Boucher has backed Tainus Brand in the T20 format as well. But for this particular test, it looks like he's picked a lot of the players on merit. When you look at that side with, what I think the lineup's going to be is obviously Dean Algar opening with Aiden, and Zubair Hamza coming in number 3, number 4 with Rassie van der Dussen, number 5 with Faf du Plessis, number 6 with Quinton de Kock, number 7 with Dwayne Pretorius, or a lot of people say Andy Lepeklekwayo too.
Yeah, which I made a point in my last article about that, is that my kind of where I base it is he was one of the standout players at the World Cup. He really played well. Yes, Red Bull is not as experienced, but he adds something. The big debate with the test team is, do we go with 4 bowlers or do we go with 5?
Yeah.
And having Andile or Dwayne solves that problem. Now that Timber's out injured, we've got that opportunity to have 5
Yeah.
bowlers, and obviously you've got the 12th man. If someone's injured,
Yeah.
they come in. So you could have Andile at 12th man or Dwayne at 12th man. So, but we definitely need to go into England with 5 bowlers. I've obviously
Yeah.
I was a bowler. I love the side of the game. Like, we don't get the credit that we deserve. It is known as the batsman's game, but you've got to go in with 5 against England. And if that 5th bowler can bat, we've got a real trump card, because England have Stokes. He can bowl, bat. He can, take wickets at the right time, and just have those 4 guys going. And Maharaj is key in this series, without a doubt.
You know what stood out to me? I interviewed Dwayne Pretorius when the Paul Rocks won the Imzansi Super League final. And it was quite interesting what he said and the humility of the guy. I mean, I've interviewed him on numerous of occasions, and every single time I've been so taken aback by how humble he is. For example, he outrightly said, he said that he thinks he's taking Vian Mulder's spot in the side. It's a pity that Vian Mulder couldn't make it in the side, and he feels for Vian, but he has an opportunity and he's going to try to give it his all. He also spoke about Mark Boucher as a person, as a coach, although he hasn't really had much interaction with him. He knows that he said he drives a hard school bus, he said, in a way. So we all know that Boucher's a hard man. So for me, this appointment was more about our mental capacity and our mental state rather than our technical side of things.
Yeah.
I don't think that you can make a Proteas side or you can make a national side being technically weak.
No.
I mean, otherwise you shouldn't be playing for your country. So I think it's mentally where we lacked, and I think the appointments, all of them, were epic. So I remember a story that I read about, it's all about performance, and they were speaking about the fact that Jacques Kallis and his bubble method, where he puts himself into this bubble to concentrate on his batting, and he doesn't allow anybody to pop that bubble. So that's how he scored runs so consistently and stayed mentally strong and kept his concentration for such long periods of time.
Hit the reset button after each ball and went back into the bubble after each ball,
Yeah.
focused, and then went and played every single ball on its merits, reset after each time, and it worked.
Yeah. So I think that's something that he can add value to our side, because our batters have struggled.
Especially to Hamza, Hamza can. I mean, what Elgar does it, you can see Elgar does. Markram needs that type of mental stability. I think he's been a bit lost a little bit. There hasn't been the thing for me is that there hasn't been with huge respect to what's Enoch, he's never had a chance to have a plan. His superiors have a plan. There's never been a real plan. Where Bouch, there is a plan in place, and it's obviously a work in progress, but there's a mental plan in place, and you've got guys like Jacques Kallis that can work around that plan that Boucher wants to implement. They understand each other, so there's not a lot of hard work that needs to be done in the build-up. There's a relationship that's been there over 20 years, so they can really hit the ground running pretty quickly. And you did you added something with Rabada saying that everyone's kind of on the same hymn sheet in a way, and already, and that's not a few days.
Yeah. But there is a concern about the fact that there's a lot of people talking about transformation and how this is like a whitewash in a way, in inverted commas. I think it's not true, actually, and I'm talking I'm trying to talk from an unbiased point of view and as a neutral. When you look at the coaching staff, it's only Boucher and Jacques Kallis. The rest of them are all people of colour. Enoch is the assistant coach, Charl Langeveldt and Justin Ontong is the fielding coach. They are 2 coloured guys. Yeah. When you look at our national squad, and guys like Bjorn Hendricks are getting an opportunity, Zubair Hamza's getting an opportunity, got a guy like Vernon Philander in that side. Temba Bavuma and Lungengidi would be in that squad, but because of injuries they haven't made it. So we've got KG as well. So I think if you look at the SA side too, there's people getting opportunities. There's a good mix. So I think that South Africa need to move towards a system where they get transformation working at a grassroots level, and we produce more quality players of colour down the line. If you look at the SAA squad, the amount of black Africans that are coming through the system, and the amount of there's a lot coming through the system. So I think in a 3, 4, 5 years time, if we can build a winning mentality leading up to that time, when all this talent comes through, we'll be pumping out a team up that are good enough to play. We'll be able to pick players of color because they deserve it, not because the color of their skin.
We've said this also before, is you don't want to just blood people too soon. It can have an adverse effect in their career. The same with the coaching. Was it really fair to send Enoch with the team to India on a hiding to nothing? It wasn't. He was never going to beat India. It wasn't fair at all.
Sorry, just to interrupt you, but India is a type of place where you need experience
and mental strength, because you can lose it pretty quickly, and we've seen that happen. Like, you get smashed. India will smash you within a day. You've been bowled out twice. That's the type of kind of mental strain that they put you under. The pitches are hard, the conditions are tough. It's away from home. The food is not the same as home. It's not the comforts. You don't get to train in what you're used to, lovely, lush, green fields that you get to practice on. You don't have that type of opportunity. And obviously with the coaching staff, you're never going to make anyone happy. No one, you're never going to get 100% strike rate and everyone's entitled to their opinions, and a lot of them are good opinions. We've seen the same thing with the Springboks. There was the critics were out there when Rassie came in 2018. Some folks criticised why was Wandile Stick still there. He was fantastic with the box. He was allowed to grow. He got more international experience. He's going to go forward in his career, and I strongly believe that Enoch will too, under this whole new kind of setup that's there.
So we've spoken about that, and we're happy with the squad. We're happy with the new appointments. I would have liked to see maybe Enoch come in as head coach and then Boucher as assistant, but I don't think that is something that Boucher would have accepted. Maybe I think that he feels that he deserves to be in a head coach role, and so the fact
he'll
that
take responsibility if anything goes wrong.
But if Enoch accepts this is kind of the perfect scenario where we have two head coaches that are running forward. We literally have two quality head coaches in high positions in cricket in South Africa. But let's move on. We also got to witness, it's a pity that you couldn't join me, but the Paarl Rocks won the Mzansi Super League. Now, for those that are from overseas, our fans from overseas that don't understand the magnitude of it, Paarl is a very small city in the Western Cape where there aren't a lot of people that live in Paarl. It's a very small population, and they quite far away from the hype of Cape Town and of the hype of the city life. So for the Paarl Rocks to represent that small city, you have to see the magnitude of fans, the way they supported their team every single week. They have a small stadium, about 7,000 people can fit in there. They sold out the final. It was an unbelievable vibe for TV viewers on SABC. I'm sure I didn't get to see it on TV, but I'm sure it looked amazing from a television point of view. That to show what the Mzansi Super League is capable of. And you came up with an idea of why don't we rather make the Mzansi Super League games in the smaller towns, because they probably will be supported more.
Look, I watched it on TV. It was spectacular. They focused a lot on the sun going down. It was almost. It was a surreal experience just to see, but it was just wonderful to see how the support for the Paarl Rocks and the atmosphere and the vibe, every single person involved in cricket, whether it was administration, media, players, former players, celebs, raved about what was going down in Paarl, and I think Paarl deserves a test match. It deserves a lot more. I strongly feel that places like Potch and that the games need to be played there. If folks are, moaning about the Wanderers being 10% full, then have it in Potch. Then make Potch the franchise. It doesn't need to be in these big cathedrals. Obviously, Newlands is a special place. Don't forget the support there was great too. The Blitz had an amazing support. Of course. Good vibe. Every game, the fans came out. They also love their team. But Paarl was head and shoulders above the rest, the best. But like I say, smaller grounds will attract the type of fans that don't get the opportunity to watch guys like A.B. de Villiers, Faf du Plessis, Morne Morkel was there. There was the Dean Elgers. Henry Davids was amazing in front of his hometown. You can't make that stuff up. You literally can't write a script for that.
There was actually if you're talking about cricket fanatics, the Paul faithful are proper cricket fanatics. I mean, when I interviewed Chris Gale earlier on in the season, there was a guy that jumped over the railing to come and get to Gale, just to get closer to Gale, and the security had to get him out
Yeah.
of there. And it's crazy the way they're shouting for their players and say, please, can we have your signatures? Asseblief meneer, asseblief, asseblief. It's amazing the way they are, the
And
way they
also,
support.
it was great the one video did where the guy was so touched, the guy in the wheelchair. He was
Yeah,
so
yeah.
touched to have the shirt signed, and,
Yeah.
and it was just like a special occasion. Like everyone soaked it up, and all the visiting teams that played there played their parts in making that whole experience so special. So they also all commented on that, and obviously the dance moves were the best.
Yeah, I mean, as Mzansi Super League as a whole, the tournament was amazing. I feel that it had a little bit of everything. We had overseas players that performed with Ben Dunk, and we are Brias, we got to see him, Udana, Dala, Udana,
Dala,
Dala. Like everybody was going crazy for
Exactly.
him. We had some great domestic players like Magala coming in here and doing some great
Yeah.
putting in some great performances. He
Gale's
was a
half
fan for it.
century.
Gale came to the party in
Yeah,
the
he
end.
did.
AB de Villiers,
AB
we
de
had
Villiers.
AB in the final. So that
Yeah.
final had everything. We had AB perform, the Spinners one song, the captain was amazing with regards
Yeah.
to his captaining of the game. Yeah, that final
I
had
love
a little bit of
seeing-
everything.
I love seeing some of the Colpack players come back here and also perform, and you know they love being here. But it was fantastic to see South Africans performing so well in the tournament themselves, and South African stars that in India are superstars. Your Dale Steins, your AB de Villiers, special names, and part of our golden generation that we have, and now some of that golden generation are coaching the Proteas.
So guys, that's our wrap of the week. So don't forget to please download our Cricket Fanatics Weekly. It comes out every single week, of course, as you can see in the name, and it gives you a summary of what happened in the last week in a magazine format. Easy for you to scroll and to have a quick browse and to keep up to date with everything that's happening. Also, it gives you a sneak peek into the week to come, similarly to this video. This video will kind of work in conjunction with that, so please give us a download, subscribe, like this, type in your email address. That's all we need from you is your name and your email address, and you become an instant Cricket Fanatics member. Thank you guys for all the support. Please like, comment, share, and we will see you next week. Thanks guys.